Hello everybody. Welcome to another speedrun episode. I just got confused because he played B3. I forgot we were supposed to play. There's no Sicilian against B3. It's not a Sicilian just because you play C5, that's not a Sicilian. So, because I can play E5, I always will. I think it's the strongest pawn move on the board. So I make it. And now he attacks it, so I want to develop and defend it. Okay, he makes a pawn move that goes to attack the defender of the pawn to add pressure. Now you could just develop, totally normal stuff. However, you could also play a6. Since he hasn't been aggressive or critical in the center, you have time for stuff like this. He's not doing anything forcing, nor can he force matters because of his setup. So what this does is prevent this developing move, securing your center. So a6 defends e5. That's the connection you need in your head. Otherwise, a6 just looks slow and weird, but there's not many ways to defend e5, right? You can't do it with the knight. You're not going to put your bishop here. You could go d6, but that's really the only available thing. But there's also a6, so we use that resource. Then he pushes a pawn in the center, threatening to capture the pawn, maybe threatening to push. Playing e5 is important, but keeping it there isn't what's essential. It's getting the move in that's essential, because then your bishop and queen are forever open. The e-file is forever open. So it's okay to trade it for an equally strong center pawn, right? So he takes with the bishop, which doesn't make sense, because not only do you not get the pawn presence by recapturing with the pawn, but I can take the bishop, which was fianchettoed on the long diagonal. There's no reason to give it up for the queen's knight, which is the least important piece on the board. So he develops his queen to the center. That's the only good thing about his position, but it's only good if I can't harass it. I think I want to continue with my development. Or do I? I do. I was thinking about a queen trade, but I guess he's the one with the weaknesses. So maybe to exploit it, I'll keep the pieces, the queen on the board. Maybe I can target the dark squares in the future. So he develops the bishop to its best square in the center. Makes sense. I'd like to castle, but I'd also like to get a pawn presence in the center. So I'm thinking d5 and c5 is the structure I want, and bishop on d6 and castle. So to initiate that, you could go d5, but seeing as how this comes with tempo and he can't stop d5 next unless he gives a check, I'm going to do it this way because I guarantee both pawn moves in a row. So I basically force exactly what I want, and then my position will be beautiful. Not only that, it happens to develop the queen, but he does give the check. So it's probably principal to block with the bishop, castle, and then get a rook to the east square, e8 square. So let's do that, maintaining our mathematical advantage by not giving an easy queen trade. And what that means for us in human terms is we're going to have a lot of pieces, easy development, great center, which will provide us with a better position to play the game. So he develops the knight towards the center. I think castling makes a lot of sense. And we're ready for rook e8. Why rook e8 instead of developing the light square bishop? Well, rook e8 is a scarier move, x-raying the king and queen with discoveries. He's now looking at this d5 square because I never pushed the pawn. So maybe you want to start with that so that he can't jump his knight in there and try to fill the hole so that he physically blocks it. If I go now and he takes, I could just recapture with the knight, protecting the bishop. So I think it's important to include this instead of developing your piece. because otherwise you're not paying attention to his threats, and his threat would be to control and occupy the center, the d5 square, which you want for yourself. And something that small, this who gets this square right now has the potential to turn the tide of the game. That's why these are important moves and time sensitive moves. Because that's one of the drawbacks of playing c5 first before d5 is it creates these kind of backwards squares, meaning your opponent can try to give you a backwards d7 pawn, so it's important that you get it in. So we got it in, and now he attacks it. That's fine. I mean, pushing past hitting the knight looks like a great move for us, but I think we have maybe bishop d6, putting the bishop where we initially wanted it on a much more active diagonal, intermezzo. And his queen is running very short on squares. What is that? Can we trap this guy? Well, he can go back. That's so lucky. He's so lucky I haven't included h6. That would be every single square. What? That's crazy. No mobility. But he has this one square that he finds. I'm gonna throw it in now. It gives my king a little bit of space for the future, so I don't get back rank mated in any lines. And I kind of want to see where he commits. Which way is he going to put his queen? So I determine what I'm going to do afterwards. Because I have moves like push and kick the knight, put the rook in the center. Oh, well now he's asking for it. Poor guy. He was playing a nice, I mean, an okay game, but this just seals the deal. Maybe he can try this, but we take a queen. He gets a bishop. So he takes because he's going to lose a piece anyway. Let's take back. He has to take with the queen or he'll lose another piece. And now I think rook to the center makes a lot of sense. Since we can't move the bishop without hanging it right away, putting the bishop on d7 hangs the other bishop. So rook in the center seems to make a lot of sense. Just controlling this pawn push, x-raying the king, pinning the pawn. Yeah, he can push, but he can't actually take anything, so it doesn't matter. Also, pretty sure it's hanging, right? We could take with the rook, or we could go for the queen trade since we're up a bishop. I'm going to take this way because it forces kind of the queen trade because of their discoveries, and we're up a piece. He hasn't even castled yet. I don't see what problems he can give us with our pretty harmonious position. He trades more stuff, and if him taking would result in me recapturing with the g pawn, I might think about responding, but because the bishop can recapture, I'm much more likely to do something like just b5 fianchetto or develop my bishop. In this specific situation, he's hanging a rook, so I'm going to take that. He trades, I bring back the bishop, and we're up 7 points of material. And he resigns. So let's go through the game. He played the Nimzo-Larsen attack modern variation, apparently. We did have one mistake, bringing us to 94%. So let's go through the game. Center and development. Development, center, force move. Prophylaxis and center. It defends e5. You need to make the connection. Okay. Fair trade. Also, there's kind of forced. I mean, it's not forced, but fair trade. Now this is just free stuff. Bishop was stronger. Development and center. Improving our position for free because we want both pawns here. We might as well get it while it's a tempo. Okay, development, force development. King safety and development. He puts his knight here, and here comes my one mistake. I was telling you that it was important to go d5, and they're saying the best move is d6. What bad timing from the engine. So d6 I saw obviously hits the queen, but then he's going to move it. And I still want my pawn on d5, so where's he going to move it? Let's say he just goes to the g square. They want me to still hunt it? Oh. Oh, is this part of a queen trap? Is that why? Oh, his queen is trapped. So where else can he go? Queen f4. Oh, no wonder. Okay, no. Okay, so this makes sense. This makes me happy because okay, so d6 leads to a queen trap, which is why it's the best move. So strategically, d5 is desirable. That's what I'm happy about. I wasn't just making things up. But d6 is apparently is a queen trap, so that's why it's... So that makes sense. Okay, so I missed the immediate queen trap. We went for the queen trap a little bit after that, in a different way. Is it really trap though? Yeah, queen f4 hanging, it's his best move, so it's trapped. I didn't even look for the queen trap here. I didn't even consider it because my bishop was still locked in. So I didn't even imagine, like, into it. Oh, it might be trapped. Okay, so I played this move and we're minus 1.2. I thought we were like this, you know, just a much better position. He plays this, it immediately goes to almost minus 4. Probably because the queen's messed up, but let's turn off the engine. We develop for free, improve a piece for free, sorry. Now we improve our position for free, we build our position, creating lift for the king. Okay, now this is just an obvious tactic. Free stuff, development, center, free stuff, force move, free stuff, force move, and he resigns. Pretty simple. I guess we'll do another one. I'll try to make it quick.